Welcome to All Wheel Driven, a podcast by Audi Club North America where we explore all things Audi and the incredible people who bring it to life. All Wheel Driven is presented by XPEL, the official paint protection film of Audi Club North America. I'm your host, Zach Miller, and we're doing something a little different for this episode by bringing you straight into the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 Audi S3, recorded on location during a media drive in Southern California with Audi of America. You will hear live impressions from the road, plus a breakdown of the key updates to its design, performance, and technology. It's a sharp new chapter for Audi's compact sports sedan, and we got our first look at it. So let's get started.
What's up, everybody? We're out here checking out this brand new 2025 Audi S3, newly refreshed for the mid-cycle of this generation. We're out here in Oceanside, California to give it a closer look, check out all the different updates to the car inside and out, dynamically take it for a drive and see how the driving behavior has changed, and talk a little bit about some of the new features and exciting updates for the 2025 model year S3. Let's get started. All right, so what is new for the 2025 model year with the Audi S3? Their entry-level performance sedan, based of course on their entry-level model, the A3. So it's still the powertrain we know and love, a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine making 328 horsepower now, a 22 bump over the outgoing S3. Torque is still the same at 295, and that delivers 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, topping out at 155 miles an hour electronically limited, and that is exclusively paired with a 7-speed S-tronic dual-clutch transmission, going of course to Quattro all-wheel drive. Audi's entire A3 family of vehicles is now only Quattro. There's no longer a front-wheel drive A3, so of course all of those cars now are Quattro, including this new S3. You'll also notice some design changes, of course, with the entire refresh across the model line, most noticeable in the front and the back. You have new lighting signatures and updates to the rear taillights, the rear end design here with some of these reflectors, and the way the diffuser is integrated with the pair of dual exhausts, blacked out on this particular example due to the optional black optics package that it's wearing. These new S-style wheels are also brand new and also going to appear across different Audi S models going forward. Those look very nice. We also have some updates in the badging. Audi's new logo, it's basically like flat now. As you can see, it's no longer like the 3D chrome for rings. It's this flattened surface, sort of black and gray mixture here that you will see repeated on the interior, on the steering wheel as well. And then the S badging is also different now. You can see the slash, or rhombus as it's called, is still there, but it no longer bisects the S lettering like it used to. They're all separate badging components now. You can go around the side of the vehicle, not too much different here from this angle. You have some more aggressive black components there on the side skirts lower down that you'll notice. But if we go up front, there's also the typical updates you would expect with a mid-cycle refresh. You have the reshaped Audi grille, again with that updated logo placement. Some updated functional ventilation that you can see there into the radiators, and lower fascia design that has been tweaked, and lighting signature again modified with the running lights being placed here as opposed to their old placement, and also just a little bit of changes in the front bumper angles as well, where you can see it now kind of more exclusively borders the top end of that grille opening, and overall just gives it a retouched look. Let's take a look at the interior real quick. Updated to be reflective of Audi's other current models in this segment, such as the Q3 and the A3. So we've got the MMI screen here, the fixed hard buttons here for your climate control with a digital interface that'll read out your settings when the car is on. There's additional hard buttons down there for common functions, and this new shifter design here. It's kind of like this slider motion with a push to park button. Still have some tactical buttons here for your next track and stereo hot controls there, or hotkeys, and push button start, of course surrounded in red. Door panels, a little bit of a new design here. You've got some ambient lighting that continues through these perforations here with the rest of the vehicle that you would obviously see at night. So that's nice. Rear end, not the most spacious, of course. It's an A3, not an A4, but you have very nice diamond pattern stitching here on the seats, both front and back. In the front, you have the Audi S stamping on the backrest. You can see there. You've got good connectivity in the new Audi S3, a pair of USB-C ports back here, as well as a pair up in front with a wireless phone charger. You've got a folding center armrest with a pair of cup holders for rear passengers, as well as a pair of climate vents, not always given in this segment. And the rear seats do fold down to give you more space from the trunk, as well as a pass-through there for longer items, should you need to use it. So again, we can open up the trunk real quick and see it's pretty spacious. You have a grocery hook here, little pocket there for smaller items, and a cigarette-style charge port. And then some storage underneath there where they put the fix-a-flat alongside the battery placements for the vehicle. So, again, the balance of sophistication, performance, and practicality that Audis and a lot of the vehicles in this segment are known for remains true here with the refreshed 2025 S3. So the other big news with the updated Audi S3 for 2025 is we're now getting some RS technology brought down to the mid-performance S model, specifically at the rear. We have a torque split mechanical rear differential that can send 100% of the rear power to either wheel dynamically as you're driving along, and that will become especially apparent when you enter the new Dynamic Plus drive mode, which really enhances the car's athletics, makes the steering a little bit heavier, opens up the exhaust valves fully. It also fully turns off the traction control. You can turn it back on if you want, but nice to see that rear diff that originally made its appearance on the current pre-refresh RS3 making its way down into the S3 so that enhanced performance is more attainable for enthusiasts. The other thing that's exciting about that is, of course, it allows for a bit of the power to be rear biased as you're driving. So typically the Quattro all-wheel drive system splits the power 50-50 between front and the rear. The rear differential will allow you to, again, split that power at the rear wheels, but also send more of the power to the rear if you want to get a little bit tail happy. Anyway, let's go for a drive and we'll get an opportunity to see how this thing handles dynamically, how it sounds, how it feels, some of the new technology and features that we'll cover, and let's go. So we're starting off the drive here in Dynamic Plus, which is a new mode for the S3. Of course, you're used to the typical automatic, comfort, individual, and dynamic modes in most Audi models. Now they have this additional Dynamic Plus that puts the ESC system into a more rear-biased performance or rear-biased power delivery behavior, opens up the exhaust valves a little bit more, makes the steering a little bit heavier, makes everything a bit sharper as you'd expect. And this is such a nice segment of vehicle that I've always loved. It harkens back to what people loved about the B7 generation RS4 and then even the earlier B5 and B6 S4s. It's the small executive performance sedan. That segment has grown, obviously, in modern times to be so much bigger. The current S4 and M3 and M340i and Mercedes C-Class AMG products are now much bigger vehicles. They've grown, they've gotten longer and wider and heavier. So the segment beneath it, what was once considered compact, has now filled that void in the form of the A3 and the S3. The RS3 first came out for the second generation car that only Europe got in the form of a Sportback. And then later the RS3 made its debut alongside the S3 in North America for the next generation, where they have been selling it as in a sedan variant only. They had a convertible for a brief period. So we've only ever had this S3 sedan. There's also the S3 Sportback in other markets as well. But let's open it up here a little bit. So this, of course, is a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine in the both the A3 and the S3. Of course, you step up to the RS3, you get the famous 5-cylinder, straight 5-cylinder engine. But that's an RS exclusive. So the model we're in now is the top-of-the-line Prestige model. As tested, this is about $60,000. You have two other trims below that. You have, starting with Premium as the base, then Premium Plus, then Prestige, this car. They come with, a prefix set of packages that add value to those different trims. For example, when you step up to the Premium Plus, you get the convenience package, which includes a lot of your ADAS systems and software. So radar cruise, for one, probably being the most crucial to most drivers, but then some other camera features and front and rear end collision protection systems and stuff like that you probably want, right? So that seems like, backs up Audi's statement that most people are not really buying the base premium trim. They're going to the Premium Plus at a minimum. And then if you step up to the Prestige trim, this vehicle, you get a few other things, but most notably the technology package, which includes the Audi virtual cockpit and a few other updates and improvements with the MMI and the App Store. Virtual cockpit is something I would definitely want, so besides the other factors, I would consider that worth going for. Then there's other optional packages. You still have the black optics package that you can select for these vehicles, like previous S and RS cars, where it blacks out, some of the exterior trimming up front along the windows, the mirrors. You get different wheels for that package. So, mostly an appearance package there. And then you can also get the S Sport package, which Audi is pretty excited about. You get red brake calipers, but then you also get adaptive dampers with that. So you can option those on any of the trims. And this car does have the S Sport package, so we'll get to experience those dynamic adaptive dampers. And the really cool thing that I'm excited to check out about this car when we get to some of the twistier roads on this drive is that rear torque vectoring diff that they have brought in from the RS3. So the current generation of the RS3 introduced that differential that, in standard driving with quattro all-wheel drive in this vehicle, the power is split 50-50 front to rear. With that rear torque splitting differential, it can then take the 50% of the power that goes to the rear and dynamically split it left to right from wheel to wheel up to 100%. So depending on your driving conditions, if you're getting the back end out or if you're just going through a sharp turn or a decreasing radius turn, it can, take that power, and if you're turning right, immediately put it fully or mostly to the outside wheel, or the left wheel in that case, to help you rotate the vehicle. Additionally, if you're getting a little tail happy, or if you happen to turn off traction control and you lose the back end a bit, it'll instantaneously throw torque to that wheel, the inside wheel, that's losing traction, to try to get you back into a straight line. It's been very highly regarded in the RS3, and it's going to, of course, remain in the upcoming refreshed RS3, but it's cool to see that they have brought some of that technology and hardware downward to the S3. That's generally what you like to see in, these multi-tiered performance vehicles over the years, as they refine certain things that were once exclusive to the upper echelon of that model family. They start making their way down, sometimes even to non-performance trims. All right, so we're going to continue to the best part of our drive, the twisty roads out here, not with much traffic and some great scenery, and we're going to see how things shake down in Dynamic Plus mode with the torque vectoring rear diff. Woo! Oh yes, these roads are great. Great condition as well, as you'd expect out here in Southern California, heading back to Oceanside right now. But man, this chassis just inspires so much confidence. You can throw it into corners, it hugs the road, and you can just feel, oh yes, that is great. Just feeling the confidence as the car rotates so smoothly. Not gonna, go nuts out here. Obviously gonna be responsible and respectful to the locals and everything and stay within reason, but you can definitely huck it around some of these turns and, oh yes, nice. And then stomp on those big brakes, drilled brakes up front. We'll do a little kickoff here. Hear the turbo spooling up. Oh, yeah, that's good. It's hanging the revs high like it does in dynamic mode. Fantastic. sophistication. You know, again, that's what Audi keeps talking about with these S cars. This isn't going to light your hair on fire. This isn't going to beat your next canyon showdown with your buddies' performance vehicles, but it's going to keep you engaged on a road like this. And it makes nice noises, and it doesn't ever feel too upset. Quattro keeps you in check. Nice. It doesn't feel too front heavy. Again, that rear diff doing its work. When you throw it around the corner, your momentum and your weight that is out front or out in the outside of the vehicle as you turn is getting pitched back in as that torque split goes to the inside wheel. I genuinely hope that the S3 continues to do its job for the Audi brand. Because if you think about it, you know, this is the entry-level car. The A3 is the entry-level car here in North America. It's the cheapest Audi you can get your hands on. Therefore, the S3 is the next most attainable performance Audi you can get your hands on. And it brings people into the brand. You know, people think of entry-level sometimes as like a penalty box, or it's, you know, kind of has a negative connotation sometimes because you're not stepping up to the big league, right? Like sort of, you know, the Porsche Cayman and Boxster had similar complexes in their early generations where it was like, oh, it's not a 911. Well, you know, it turns out, as we've now learned, a lot of times these entry-level models can really, when engineered and developed with the same attention to detail from those types of teams, can really deliver just as much, if not better, than their bigger brothers in the model lineup. And I like to think that with the investments Audi has continued to make in the RS3, now in its second generation here in the US, and the S3 beneath it, that they're going to keep drawing people in to the S and RS brands with this kind of performance and attention to detail, when at the end of the day they could just kind of phone it in, you know. The first generation Mercedes-Benz CLA as a direct competitor that was on sale at the time of the first A3 sedan we got in the US, you might argue that car was a little bit phoned in. It didn't really feel like a true Mercedes, and that unfortunately held true as you stepped up to the CLA 45 AMG. Audi could have easily taken a similar path and just said, you know what, it's the A3, whatever, it's not our volume seller to begin with, why put all this time and energy into the RS3, let alone the S3? But they have. They are serious about it. They have pride in it. And they, I think, want to keep it around a while, which is great because, again, it allows these other aspirational owners that ladder up their vehicles in their life, and, you know, as they get older and get more income, they can get their way into more expensive S and RS products. This keeps them engaged. If the S3, their first taste of a performance Audi, was, again, lackluster or just like released to check a box and nothing more, they might not stick around. They'll bounce over to Mercedes AMG and BMW M when they get that kind of cash. So this is an important car for Audi, an important segment in the market. Woo! Yeah. You still get into trouble too easily. If you're used to that from other Audis, you won't miss it here. Oh God, the chassis is just so good. Not only could you get into trouble in terms of the speed you can achieve, but if you don't know what you're doing and you turn traction control off, you might get into some real trouble. Oh yes, wow. Oh, that was great. Oops, got so excited my palm hit the steering wheel button and I lost my nav. Oh man, this road. Oh, bunch of oranges on the road there. All right. Woo! Oh, this is great. Oh, I love German performance cars. I love this type of car. I love this segment of car. I love this size of car. It's the spiritual successor to the Audi S4 from the B5 and B6 and even B7 generation, but without all the nose, front, heavy weight, and understeer for now. We'll see if that remains true when the RS3 comes out to this market in a few months. But the S3 will keep you busy. Oh. Oh man, this is just so pleasant to throw around. I mean, imagine this is your daily driver. And then you get the chance to take the scenic route home, or you take it out for the weekend. You can still have so much fun with this. You don't need to crank up the spending to afford the RS3 or a $100,000 spec M4. You can keep your usability and practicality of the sedan and get this package. Oh, wow! Oh, that was great. So one of the downsides of this thing, well, everyone's always going to be asking about the transmission situation, right? There's no manual. Technically, there never was. I mean, Audi did offer a manual transmission in the previous S3, previous generation of S3, in Europe and other markets. We never got it here in America for whatever reason. They didn't homologate it for us. But again, much like PDK, Audi's S-tronic transmission that they have in this and have been using for years is fantastic. So you're not getting shafted, you're just not getting a manual. Hard to call that a negative, it's just something people might want to see offered down the road, but the car itself in its current form is fantastic. Drives like you'd expect, it's really planted, the weight feels well balanced, the chassis feels really solid, the steering feels well weighted and very accurate, not overly assisted, but also not overly, not vague in any way. You wouldn't expect that, of course, from an S vehicle. You've got the S3 coming in with 328 horse, 295 torque, 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, top speed of 155. I mean, these are numbers that used to be RS cars, again, not too long ago. And now you're getting that kind of access in the S3. I mean, it's great. All right, so that concludes our day with the newly refreshed 2025 Audi S3. Just got done doing some additional footage with this Python yellow model, which looks stunning. That was definitely the most vibrant color that Audi brought out here today for the event. We spent the rest of our drive earlier in the Ascari blue metallic model. But yeah, thanks again to Audi for bringing us out here from Audi Club North America to check out the new car. It's great if you've loved previous S3s, if you love this segment of vehicle, you're still gonna love the new one. It just gets better. Again, we're finding the formula. So thanks again to Audi, and thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of All Wheel Driven. Please consider giving our show a rating, subscribe for future episodes, and email us your feedback at media@audiclubna.org. Be sure to check the show description for a link to submit your questions or express interest in joining future episodes of All Wheel Driven to share your Audi story with our community. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.